Ashwathi, my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Just try to join. Okay. All right. So, students, we are beginning. Last week we have done a small extension of the previous week's work. So towards the processor design, we did SRAM module in the first 1 week. Subsequent week we did a SRAM register file. Then we did SRAM register file with ALU. Okay, and last time we just did adding 2 registers using the ALU. Okay, adding the content. So this is all we did. Today another small extension of this. I'll discuss. Wait a minute. Okay, just open one more screen. So towards the processor, actually instruction execution, we are going to culminate today's assignment as a thing which actually can be said that it mimics the processor for 2 or 3 instructions. Okay. So the first task is instruction fetch, correct? So we have to fetch instruction, decode it and execute it. These are the 3 aspects. Let me start writing it here. Okay. Every processor does these 4 things, and you already know how to fetch the instruction because we have the SRAM. You had the controller which reads the SRAM, and it was loading the value into a register file. Okay. Then decode aspect we haven't seen. Execute you saw last time that take any 2 registers, do the addition, and then send the output. So that was the execution which involves the ALU. And writing result is actually the ALU output should be sent either to the register file or to the RAM. Okay, so how do we extend our previous lab's work for this? So first thing is you have to read the RAM, and your instructions as well as the data will be stored in the same SRAM which you have designed last time. And the instruction format I will discuss in the next slide. So depending on what I have designed, you will your instruction will be around 16 bits. Okay, so your data width of the RAM is 16 bit, and I think you had 32 locations in them. Okay, last time you had 32 locations, but your data was 8-bit wide. Now you make it 16-bit wide. So you have to change your SRAM module to incorporate this. Okay, you can make a new copy of that. Don't change last week's module. Just make a copy of the same RAM and then rename it to 16-bit SRAM. And then your register file. Okay. Then the second component is your reg file. Register file is 8-bit because my data is 8-bit. My instruction is 16-bit, but my data is still 8-bit data. And the locations here were 16, correct? 16 locations. So you can keep this as the previous week. Register file, 8-bit data and 16 locations. All right. And how is your program going to be structured? You just take a sample thing. This is the RAM. Okay. RAM has got, I've divided the RAM into 2 small parts, logical partitions, where I'll write the data at the top and the instruction at the bottom. So data is actually the values which you want to compute on. and instruction is what to do. Okay. So normally our programs look like this. We just be making a small tiny example of that. Okay. And in my execution, I'll just change the color. First, you need to read the RAM from say locations 0 to 7. What is this? Reading RAM location 0 to 7, which is in the data region. So I'm going to read this data and store this data already in the register file. In a normal processor execution, you would have load store instructions, which we are not specifically doing today. Your program itself will have load this memory location, load second memory location, then add the content, then write to a third memory location. This is how a normal assembly language program runs. But what I'm going to do is we are going to do the loading, all loading together. So any variables which you are going to use in your program, we are already going to load them into the register file. Load A, B, C, D, E, F, all these are your variables. And I'm assuming I've got 8 variables which are stored in the data portion. I'm going to read all of them into the register file. And the index will be again 0 to 7. Okay, my register file also has a RAM 0 has the data value. It comes in the register file 0. Now the question is your RAM is 16-bit and your register is 8-bit. So when I'm dealing with data, I'm going to use the LSB side 8 bits. So your RAM will give you 16 bits. You have to use only the LSB side 8 bits and load them into the register. Remaining bits you have to discard. So with this we have done loading of the data. Then read the instruction. So the first one, the point one was read data, and the second one is reading the instruction. What happened? This is read the instruction. And where is the instruction? It starts from somewhere else at in the RAM. So you have 32 locations. So let's say from position 31 onwards, your instruction is there so that you get some space to keep everything. So your first instruction is sitting at location 31. So you have to read that location address 31. I hope you all can read the RAM now because we did the exercise in the previous assignment. Send the address, read the RAM, write into the register. So your green point number 1, okay, point 1 written in the green color is the same as the previous week. Go to the RAM, send the address, the data comes out, write that data into the corresponding register index, and I have maintained the same one, RAM 0 to Reg 0, RAM 1 to Reg 1, like this up to 7. So RAM 7 goes to Reg 7. Subsequently, so this is your 1 ASM, which is, I'm going back to your previous slide. Here the blue one, okay, so the blue one is previous week's ASM where I'm reading the RAM and writing it to the register. You have to repeat this blue part. And the green part changes here. What happened in the green part in the previous week? I was having source 1 and source 2, that is the data was coming from 2 registers. I was adding them and sending the output to the console. Okay, so today I am not going to do the green part, it will change. Okay, so what happens to the green part is, I'll just start writing here. First, go to the RAM, location 31 onwards. So you can decide. Okay, I'm just doing not 31. What was it? It can't be 31 because you have 32 locations. A mistake. Wait. It should be 16 onwards. Okay, so here position 16, and in that your instruction is written. So okay, before that we need to discuss the instruction part. Instructions are of the form, if you remember, I will say add R1, R2, R3. So this is my instruction. Let it this delay in transmission.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, there is a lag. Could you wait for a minute? Like we are still in the previous week's slide. We are not able to see what you are writing.
Great. Yeah. There is some lag. I'm just waiting. Let it come. What's the issue? I don't know. Either maybe I am disconnected. Probably. Let me check. Ashwati, can you see what are you able to see right now?
The previous week's slide, ma'am. The two ASM charts.
Previous week's slide, no? Oh, okay, okay.
The Jamboard, not.
My network is connected. What do I do? Yeah, even on my other device I have connected. That is showing the same one. Maybe I'll stop sharing screen and start again. Probably that could be one reason that it is stuck. Okay, I am back. I think network should be fine now. So going to the Jamboard. Right. Now we have caught up with the correct one. All right. So I'm on slide number 11, where the green one is saying read data, first 8 locations, load in the register file.
Ma'am, it is not.
Huh? Ashwati not coming?
It's visible, ma'am.
Maybe there's some lag at within IIT. Okay. How it is visible? I have also connected my mobile phone as join meeting from there, which is on another network. So I think, yeah. So I can see on my another device. Ashwati, maybe you are offline or something suddenly. So read second one is read instruction 30, not 31 onwards, but this I had changed that time. There was a mistake here. They should be 16 onwards because we have just 32 locations. So your instruction is written from 16. Okay, so before we can execute the instruction, we need to know the instruction format. So let's do that as the next target. Instruction format. We have, you already know instructions are of this form. Say add R1, R2, R3. If I write an instruction like this in assembly, we have to decide which is the destination. Sometimes the rightmost one is the destination, sometimes the leftmost one. So I'm assuming that this first one, leftmost one is my destination, and the other two are the sources. Then there is an instruction add immediate, which says write the answer in R1, which has R2 plus some constant value, say 8. Okay, so it says contents of R2 plus the immediate value of 8, do the addition and write in R1. Okay, these are the two types of instructions. Then we can have and anything, right? So this first one, this the opcode can be replaced with all possibilities which are there in your ALU. Then shift and so on. If you can recollect, we have add, subtract, shift left, shift right, logical and or not XOR. So all those you can have as your instructions, but we do not have the type called immediate because my ALU has got no feature of immediate. It needs two sources, source 1 and source 2. So it is the job of the controller which you are going to design, which should send the immediate value. In this case, the 8. The 8 has to be sent to the ALU as part of your program. But when you send R2's contents and 8 to the ALU, ALU should do the addition. So this I is for your reference, whereas the operation has to be an add. So you have the add, this add and this add is same for the ALU. For the ALU, the add R1, R2, R3 and add immediate R1, R2 hash 8 are both the same type of instructions. ALU only needs source 1 and source 2, which your program is going to send properly. But how do you distinguish between the two instructions? Therefore, you should have a different opcode assigned to each of these. All right. So we'll now discuss that. So I'll just list the ALU operations which we had designed. Add, subtract, and XOR. Add immediate. Okay, so this is one list of operations which I've done. Some which are missing, you can fill them. And every one of this has got the ALU func code, right? The func input which was telling what to do. So it was 3 zeros were there for add, 001 for subtract, and 010, 100. Oh no, it was for, I think it was 011 and 100. So this was my mapping for these functions in the ALU. So ALU, if you send 000 as the function code, it will do the addition. So this is your ALU.v file. And for the bottom ones, this is again an add. So it should have 3 zeros because this is what you're going to send to the ALU. Subtract, you're going to send 001, and shift in my code, it was 110. Shift left by B bits. But in the ALU program, when we wrote, we assumed B to be 1 or 2. It was hard coded, that shift by how much amount or shift by one position. Okay. So now where will this B come from? So this B will come as an immediate value. And to distinguish between the add and the add immediate, I need one more extra bit in my opcode. Okay. So the 5th bit, so I have 4-bit opcode, and the MSB bit is 0 in the normal ones, and it is 1 for the ones which need the immediate data. Okay, so when you have 4 zeros, you have to do the add. When you have 1 followed by 3 zeros, you have to do add immediate. This is how I have decided the instruction format, where this, what I have written, is the opcode. So the opcode are these 4 bits. I have a 4-bit opcode, and this is the opcode. Then are the two sources. So the instruction, let me take one more sheet. We have opcode. Then I have, I think destination. Wait a minute. So you have source, I think, destination, source 1, source 2. Okay, and this whole thing is my instruction, and each is 4 bits. Agree? The opcode is 4-bit. We saw it on the previous slide. Destination, source 1 and source 2. What are these? These are register IDs. These are not the values. These are register IDs because we have already loaded our data from the RAM into the register. So whenever I need to do some operation, I have to give the ID of the register in these 3 locations. So if I am doing add, R1 is my destination, R2 and R3, this is my instruction. How will it translate to? My add has got 4 zeros as the opcode. R1 is the ID of the destination. So it is 00001. R2 is this and R3 is binary 3. Okay, so this is the machine language of my instruction. So these 16 bits will be stored in RAM of 16. Your RAM address 16 will have this instruction kept. You have to read the RAM into a temporary variable in your program and then decipher all these 4 different fields. So you have to decode. What is decode? Understanding these 4 parts. If you read the MSB side 4 bits, you know this is the opcode. So this is the opcode. You store in a variable called opcode. This one you store in a variable called D. This one you store in S1. This one you store in S2. So extracting this and calling the correct ALU operation is part of the decode. And in opcode again, you have to appropriately use the MSB because MSB is 0 and MSB is 1. If MSB is 1, what happens in the opcode? It is of the type immediate. Okay, so for immediate type of instructions, we need, look here, look at the add immediate instruction. Add immediate R1, R2, #8. So R1 is the destination, R2 is source 1, and the second source is the immediate value of 8. So this 8 has to come from somewhere. Now where will I store this 8? 8 will be stored in this source 2. Let me go to the next slide. There's a small lag now. The SRC2 field will not have the register ID, but it will have the constant written inside that. So instead of SRC2, which is the ID of the register, you will write the value and you can only have 0 to 15 as the constants which you can use in your instructions. I hope the format is clear. You can come up with your own one. You can also swap the order. Your destination can be in the LSB, const can be here and so on. Okay, only keep the opcode in the MSB side. The other 3 you can order according to your convenience. Instruction format is clear. Now coming back to the program. All right. So read the instruction from the RAM. All this you have to generate the SM chart. Okay, whatever every line could be a different state. Read instruction from the RAM. Separate the components like we did in the previous slide. All the 4 bits each you have to separate. The opcode you have to assign to the ALU operation. So in the ALU.v you have the parameter which takes the function call, the function to be done. Assign the opcode to that variable. Then using SRC1 and SRC2, these two are you have already separated them from the instruction. So SRC1 is the ID of the register. So this is the reg ID actually. This is not the data. So SRC1 is the reg ID. Go to the register, read the data, and then send that data to the ALU. Then again read SRC2, read the register pointed to by SRC2. That content you assign to the ALU input. So now at the end of these 3 lines, your ALU has got the operation to be done and the data. So ALU source 1 will be contents of reg source 1. ALU source 2 will be contents of reg of source 2. And end of this clock cycle, your data will be available in the ALU output. Okay, so I'm just writing call ALU, but actually you're not going to call as soon as you assign the variables, because ALU is a combinational block. It will start functioning. Next clock cycle, your answer is available. So this is how your execute is done. And the ALU output you have to store somewhere. Okay, and where will you store this? The ALU output which comes has to be stored in the destination register. So the ALU output, redirect it and do a write feature, writing into the register file. All right, I hope that's clear. So a quick recap. Read RAM and write register. This is your first part. Then read RAM, compute, and then write register. Okay, so first one is the ASM which you built in the previous lab. Today you have to only build the second one, which is a modification of your last week's green ASM. Last week you did ALU using register 1 and 2. Today, which register to read will come from the RAM. That's all. That's the only change in last week's assignment. But we have given it a full picture of an instruction execution. Any doubts to anybody? You can ask. And what else? Submission. No, it's 2:40. Suppose all of you start by 3. I think 1 hour, 1.5 hours is sufficient for those who have everything ready from the previous lab. So if you can do a best reuse of your last week's code, which is expected actually, then you can finish this assignment in 1.5 hours. Okay, so my estimate of 2 hours is again good enough. Even if you start at 3, you should be done by 5. So between 5 and 6, you can show the assignment to the TA. Beyond 6, the TAs will not check. Those who cannot show it today, tomorrow 3 to 4. And the same policy, those who show today get some bonus marks. Okay, so with this I finished explanation for today's assignment, and you can start doing it. If you have any doubts, you can ask. All right, one more thing. Wait, let me stop screen share.